This morning, some Missourians may have better access to nutritious foods. That's after the state's Women, Infants, and Children, or WIC program, introduced updated benefit cards this month. WGEM's Jack Polesnik joins us live in Hannibal to share how this affects those in need. Jack, good morning.
Hey Kyle, good morning. I'm outside County Market here in Hannibal, which is one of the 3 WIC-approved stores in Hannibal here. Now WIC, like you said, stands for Women, Infants, and Children. It's a Missouri Supplemental Nutrition Program. They introduced a card that helps program participants view and use their benefits. The WIC certifier with the Marion County Health Department tells me that before this new card, benefits weren't loaded directly on the old one. People had to visit their WIC provider every time they needed new benefits to use.
It's saving transportation for families who, might not have that. They don't have to come here every time they need something switched or to update their card now.
The card works much like a credit or debit card in that people can swipe it in certain stores to use the benefits loaded on it. There's also an app where participants can view their benefits, much like a banking account app. The app features a barcode scanner as well as an appointment schedule and a store locator. Reporting live in Hannibal, Jack Polesnik, WGEM News.
Jack, thank you. Details on eligibility and how to sign up for WIC can be found on our website at WGEM.com.